If you're an Xbox fan, aficionado, or whatever you may call yourself, I've already shown you the market. It's up to you to now basically watch and see if the trends that I've shown you are actually coming to fruition. I remember last year, Black Myth Wukong caused all of this ruckus. Yes, I was at the forefront doing my own investigations and such, but I did make one thing known. I said, for every Wukong, there's a Wu Chang. By that statement, I was implying that the gaming market is way too saturated for anyone to think that they have any kind of stranglehold over holding on to third-party exclusives. In those videos where we made mention of that game and many other games, I also showed you the number of video games that were launching on Steam in 2024 compared to other years. If you look, that number is insane. Some will say shovelware and all of this talk, but many of them are missing the heartbeat of the point, which is AA developers, indie developers are coming to the market with really strong titles that could in some cases fool you to thinking that these are AAA games, which is very crazy. The more recent game reveal Eclipse Glow Games' fantasy action called Tides of Annihilation, which is set in old London, it's actually done by a developer that's based in Chengdu in Sichuan of China. Now, I don't know how they actually separate their regions, so somebody who may know, please let me know. I do know that this particular area seems to be very popular for a lot of emerging tech companies in terms of the video game development scene. It appears that with the access to game engines, technology, best practices that have been basically propagated over the course of the years by Unreal Engine, Unity, and so on and so forth, developers are able to do some really cool stuff. Many of you may or may not know the game called Bright Memory. You see, all this stuff was always going on in the back end. Bright Memory is the one game that was basically developed by FYQD Studios, which was pretty much one guy. One guy took time to develop an entire video game. It was a few hours long, and then Xbox picked them up and basically started to help and support in areas that was needed to get this game going. And I remember when everybody was complaining about Wukong, and I kept saying, guys, there is going to be a Wu Chang. There are many games out here that will be available for you to play on Xbox, regardless of what the third party, whether it be money hiding, whether it be Xbox Series S complaints or whatever it is, what they want you to think, it's not what the data is showing. And so now, on top of all of this, I bet you if I did not say the words Wukong, you would not have remembered that game if you played on Xbox. You are now looking forward to Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. You're now looking forward to the new game, Tides of Annihilation, which, by the way, are coming to Xbox as well as other platforms. And I'm certain that you would probably be willing to, bet that any other serious third-party developers, just like I told y'all before, who wants to do business will be willing to make their games available to as many people as they possibly can. This is where the gaming industry is going. Third-party lockdowns are no longer the case. PlayStation is finding it challenging to even match the third-party sales on their platforms. Even with 75 million consoles sold, they still need to do more work in that particular area of games. So now, because we're seeing studios and developers and publishers within big spaces and small spaces, for instance, Square Enix, an entire publisher who was in bed with PlayStation for exclusivity, back out. We saw even a small one, Koei Tecmo, back out in terms of them wanting to go independent and publish their own games. We saw another one who I would deem as probably mid-size at this point, back out, which is Paralabis. And you're even seeing right now that this exclusivity thing, it doesn't necessarily vibe well for a lot of these developers. Many of them are making their way to where they can pretty much get their game available to everyone and make sure that they can reach a wide and broader audience. So again, let me reiterate it with this other game coming out of China that already looks like something nice in terms of its gameplay, in terms of its presentation. I'm not talking about the quality of the game. I'm just talking about what we're seeing. For every Wukong, there's a Wu Chang. There's a game that's going to come in and appeal to you. A game that's going to come in and something has got to catch your attention in this gaming industry. Like, there's nowhere these games are going to be running to with you looking for something to play. And I understand, when you look at the whole conversation about the whole console industry, the PlayStation fans have basically made it seem like Xbox was irrelevant because PlayStation wanted that perception. So they money had it third-party games. Now that there are no, third-party developers that want to get in bed with them, they're already exposed as a remaster console, basically, remaster remake console, because for the most part, it's always been the third-party games that have carried them because of dealings and such. But these third-party games are looking and saying, in an industry like this, where there are games everywhere, I am going to Stellar Blade my game if I do not put it on other platforms. Keep in mind that Stellar Blade has been on PlayStation's own platform, exclusive there, while PlayStation has beaten them to Steam with multiple titles. The Days Gone game, the remaster for Days Gone, that game is going to be coming pretty soon. And Stellar Blade is not going to show up till June. Can you see what's been done in this whole conversation? You notice how many games have basically made their way into this particular ecosystem? Now you're starting to see the play. PlayStation is not going to basically be in the mood where they want a game that they've copped to be exclusive to go out there and beat their own titles. They did it with Final Fantasy as well. They went straight to Steam before Final Fantasy 16 could launch on Steam. Final Fantasy 16 found itself competing against PlayStation on a different platform. A so-called console that, in a sense, wants to position itself as a console for exclusives is running all over the place and trying to get more sales over the third-party games that its money had. This is your sign right here. This is your sign right here. So in looking at all of this, I was just very, I was just very shocked at the state of play coming out and showing all these games. And you were wondering which one is PlayStation going to money hat? And there's barely anyone. Why? Devs want to sell games. Devs realize that there's a market saturation. Devs realize that if they don't start to build and cultivate their audience, they're going to be remiss. Lies of P was able to bring out DLC and people were like, oh yeah, I know that game. That game was available to me, right? And so more than likely, those who already beat Lies of P, who already played Lies of P, will be looking forward to whatever the expansion or DLC would look like so that they can play it. And when the next Lies of P comes out, there's already recognition across all brands. Whereas Shift Up's game is still sitting on PlayStation and possibly will be on Steam. Again, I can, with just a little math that one game is probably happy to have been multiplat, and the other game is hoping that they can sell more copies on PC than the PlayStation 5 version of the game. Think about it. Thanks for watching. Peace out.